You are listening to Behind the Headlines, presented to you by the Warragul and Druin Gazette.
Welcome to Behind the Headlines, the official podcast of the Warragul Druin Gazette. I'm Gazette journalist Nicholas Duck, and joining me today are Bob McCallum and Cheryl Koss from the Buln Buln Football and Netball Clubs. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
No worries at all. Let's just jump right in. The season is about a week away now. How are we feeling?
Really good. Really good, yeah. The girls are looking good. They've come back fitter, and I think we're at a point starting where we finished off last year, which was finishing off strong. So looking forward to the year ahead.
Yeah. And Bob?
Pre-season's always long, mate, so the quicker we can get it started, the better for us. We've just had a couple of pracky matches.
Yeah.
Both of which have gone well, so yeah, got to get through Easter and then we're into it.
Yeah, beautiful. And how have pre-season numbers been so far?
Fantastic for the most part. I think we missed out on a twos match in the pracky match last weekend, but we had about 16 blokes out, which meant all up I think we're well into the mid-40s in terms of list size.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives the coaches something to think about going forward, which is always nice for from a club standpoint.
Yeah, beautiful. And before we get too much into next season, I was just hoping for just a bit of a quick touch on last season. Sheriff, we want to start there. You mentioned that Buln, all right season, but finished strongly, like you said.
Yeah, look, it was probably disappointing to what we expected, to be honest. We were certainly hoping for a finals berth, and we did just miss out on that. But they certainly came home strong in the second half of the season and showed a lot of improvement and a lot of promise. So it left excitement for this year coming.
Yeah. Bob, I'm assuming not too many complaints after last year?
No, we set out to win a premiership and that's what we got done. So yeah, we're extremely happy as you'd expect.
Yeah, one-off and undefeated season. And that one game was in an absolute trench at Ellenbank.
Yeah, delicious.
I think we saw some photos there. Our photographer took some photos of that game, and I'm pretty sure half the time you couldn't even tell who was on
it was
whose
horrendous.
team.
There was plenty of times where blokes were tackling their own teammates and all that sort of stuff. So it's just one of those days you get through it and move on pretty quick.
Yeah. So Cheryl, have you talked about that sort of momentum that you did gather at the end of last season, hoping to sort of bring it into
look, I spoke to a couple of my girls individually last year and on what to do over the pre-season and how to get themselves up and ready to go, and credit to them, they've all done the work. They're all looking really good. We've got a couple of new faces in the team.
Yeah, well, I was going to get into that. Yeah, new faces.
We've young Paddy, who was in B grade last year, had a really great season last year. We brought her up.
Yeah, Paddy McInnes.
Yeah. So we're hoping to see some good things from her.
Mm-hmm.
Jess Fowler's stepped up.
Yep.
So she's come up in there. Yeah. So we're looking forward to it. It should be good.
Yeah. And Bob, how do you come into this pre-season knowing that you're the big dogs now, you're the champs, the target's on your back? Is it different this year to how it was last year?
Yeah, it's definitely a different mood to it. You've got to find different ways to, I guess, motivate yourself in a way. It is different once you won a premiership. You sort of got to put a little bit of different spin on it. And guys have got to find their own motivation to come back and go for it again. Mm-hmm. And we've spoken at length about what that looks like. And fortunately, everybody's super pumped and ready to go because we've only lost, I think, probably one guy retired. And then a couple of guys through long-term injury, but the majority of the list is still there and ready to go.
Yeah, and new recruits for the senior football team. Do we have any names of note?
We've got a couple. As I said, we didn't lose too many, so there wasn't this real desire to go out and recruit anybody. Cam McPhann's come back from work commitments, so he played in what I don't know. So he played in 22.
Yeah.
So he'll be handy midfielder across the half forward line. We've got a really good group of juniors coming up. There's about 8 of them that graduated from last year. So we've seen them throughout their pracky matches and they've really impressed. And just recently we've got Paddy Island come across from Warragul.
Yep.
Who showed a lot of promise in the practice match last week. So yeah, it looked really similar to last year with a few new faces.
Yeah, beautiful. And cutting ahead to round 1, I believe it's a match with Neeram, I believe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So how are we looking forward to that? Because it's a bit of a different sort of matchup between the football and the netball.
For sure. Sure.
Obviously, the netball, you're coming up against the undisputed best team of the last 2 years.
A couple of years, yeah.
Yeah.
They're by far the benchmark for sure.
So how do you tackle that sort of challenge?
We play our own game and just see where we stand. We have a real crack. Main thing is to go in with confidence in our own game and not be put off by the fact that they are the reigning premiers by a long way. They're not unbeatable by any means. A couple of teams got very close to them last year, and in hindsight we got very close to those teams. So I think it's all getting a bit closer, hopefully with a couple of changes and tweaks, and who knows, like every season's different, and we plan on having a good crack at them. Yeah.
And Bob, Neeram's become something of a bit of a rival. Last two grand finals played against them. You know, obviously lost that one in 22, but got your revenge last year. How do you think it's going to stack up in round one this year?
It's always hard to know because obviously we know what we're doing, but no idea what really Neeram are doing, and obviously the other teams as well. But you know, we really look forward to these games. It's a good competition. You know, something that we sort of set ourselves for, and it's been round one every year these last 3 years. So we sort of we make sure that we try and tick some small boxes along the way throughout our year. You know, there's that last day in September that we really want to get to. We want to make sure that we enjoy the journey and as I said, tick those boxes along the way, and Neeram's just first up.
Yeah. And now I wanted to touch on just sort of the club culture that you guys have got going at the moment between the netball and the football clubs. Have you guys been sort of one of those clubs that's really tried to bring those two together? Or have they been a bit more separate?
I've only come to the club last year, so you're probably better at answering this, Bob, and being a little bit older, I'm probably not as involved, but from what I can see, it's a really good group. Both the boys and girls all just seem to really click, and I from outside looking in, it looks great. So, but Bob can probably elaborate more on it.
It's handy because we haven't had to manufacture it. It's a real sort of natural vibe out there, and the connection between the netballers and footballers is just, as I said, it's been organic. There's a lot of dating from footballers and netballers, which obviously helps, and but that connection's it's been organic and easy. So it's part of it.
Family orientated too. There's a lot of kids around, and everyone's there for each other, and it seems really good.
And as for the league as a whole, have you seen the off-season? Have you been paying attention to any of the other teams, or have you been sort of focusing only on what?
I focus on what I've got.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about what other teams are doing. We had practice matches, and I had someone say to me, "Have you looked up who we're playing?" I said, "I don't care who we're playing.
Yeah.
I just want my girls doing what I ask of them and see where they can improve and do what we can do. The rest will fall into place."
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'm a footy nerd.
Yeah.
So, and I don't just concentrate on our league. I'll sort of keep my fingers in a few pies. So I try to keep up with what other clubs are doing, just for my own sort of benefit, just to sort of, you know, I like to think about what different teams, what their holes were last year, and whether they've recruited specifically to fill those holes, and what that might look like for us coming up against them. So as much as you try to, you still can't get a great vibe on what they're actually doing, but I do try and keep an ear out.
Yeah, and you said keeping an eye on other leagues. You keep an eye on some of your old teams. I know you played at Druin for many years.
Yeah, and I've played a lot of interleague in that league as well, so I know a lot of the guys from other teams too, so I like to see how they're going and how different teams are shaping up and the different coaching movements and all that sort of stuff. So just footy nerd.
Yeah. So Cheryl, I just wanted to ask, what was your role within the netball program?
Now?
Yeah.
Well, I'm A-grade coach.
A-grade coach, Thought so, just wanted to double check. That's why we can maybe cut that.
Because they can edit things.
That's fine. We can edit things, so we can edit that. That's fine. So how long have you been in the role now?
This is my second year.
Second year. Yeah, okay. So how did you reflect on your first year as coach?
I was really happy with it. I think I got great response from the girls. I think we had great communication between player, coach, and everything that was going on around the club. And like I said, I asked things of my girls that they probably hadn't done or haven't been asked to do certain things in the past, and they were all open to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting young girls that are coming up and C graders coming up asking for extras, and so I'm meeting a few of them down there on the courts on non-training days, and and just trying to work with them and help build some skills that they might have missed out. Especially when we had COVID, a lot of these young girls missed a couple of years. So you're getting girls who are 16, 17, stepping up into seniors now, and they've missed a big element of their netball.
Yeah.
So some of those basic skills are kind of lacking. So yeah, my aim is if I can help everyone just a little bit, I'm in a good place.
Yeah. And Bob, how many years have you been coaching Buln now?
This will be year number 3.
Year number 3. Okay. How have you reflected on your first 2 years? Obviously, you've been pretty successful, a grand final and then a premiership the year after.
Yeah. Well, obviously those sort of accolades are on the shelf now, so they're what you sort of externally after, and internally obviously too. There are other sort of factors that we sort of check ourselves, and not that it's my only goal, but the juniors at the moment are sort of flourishing. So I don't have a big hand in that, but it's just nice to sort of be involved in that and just watch the people that are involved in those areas. Our junior numbers are really good this year for probably the first time in a while, so that's sort of been building on for a few years even before I got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, reflecting on my time, 2 grand finals and hopefully a third coming up. That's the goal.
Yeah. Do you still find that motivation? Now that you have achieved that pinnacle, like.
Yeah, the thing that we spoke about as a group is what do you want to be at the end of this year? Like, there's still that majority of that group's still there, and we've won a premiership. So what's next? And we spoke about how a lot of teams previous to us have won a premiership, and then that's been it. So how do you separate yourselves from those teams?
Yeah.
And to be a back-to-back team is what separates you. So
yeah.
I think we try and have a theme every year, and although there's a lot of water to go under the bridge before that can even be a possibility, that's certainly what we'll be striving for.
Yeah. And Cheryl, for Buln, where does that drive come from for your girls?
From what I'm seeing from my girls is the biggest aim at the moment is just they want to play finals netball. That's been lacking from their senior years for the last few years. I'm not sure how long it's been since they've been in the finals, to be honest. I think it's over 8. So yeah, I've got some really keen girls who just are desperate to play finals netball. Obviously, as a coach, I want to go further than that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they do too. But finals netball and getting that experience and being involved on those finals days is like nothing else.
Yeah.
I want that for them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Was there an element of, I know you said, there's a bit of crossover between the football and netball programs. Is there an element of, I don't know, looking at the football program and wanting to
you love it.
Yeah.
You love watching the boys succeed.
Yeah.
It carries over for sure.
Yeah.
It lifts the whole club, and that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
Girls, boys, we're all there. We want to win. We play for the sport for a number of reasons, but ultimately you want to be successful. And to me, the football club's successful, they'll carry on to the netball club, and vice versa.
Yeah.
You see both from success. It's a good thing overall. So yeah, absolutely, it carries on.
Yeah. And Bob, I'm guessing that the boys will get right around the netball program this year as they're trying to fight for finals.
Yeah. Well, as Sheila spoke about, like in terms of her role, you can tell how well a coach is doing based on how the side improves, and I think especially B grade last year, how they finished off almost getting in, and sort of look at the list of A, B, and C and how close they were to actually getting into finals. Yeah, we were pumped to see them almost getting in. We were right there with them, but hopefully this year.
Yeah. And Bob, I know you touched on the football juniors, but Cheryl, how are the netball juniors looking?
Yeah, we had a couple of good, really successful seasons last year with a couple of teams. 15s, 17s done really well. 15s won it. 13s done really well as well. So there's a lot of upcoming young girls going through there, which is really exciting for the club. And again, even on the senior list, I think we've got 6 girls got from 17s last year.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a lot when you're only talking 7 girls on a court in a C grade game. So yeah, there's some young players there, and there's a couple of old girls still around as well. So a bit of that experience and the young blood. So hopefully it's all a good blend.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, I just wanted to touch on something for the netball because, and I could be wrong, and if I am, they're going to cut this out, but was there an introduction of a new rule in the netball this year, the rollover of subs? Was that this
Rolling subs is
Rolling
being
subs.
introduced.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool, don't cut it, I got it right.
No, you got it right. There's actually quite a few new rules or interpretations of the rules, which I've had a couple of meetings with the league for. Rolling subs is exciting. Yeah, this is.
So for those who might not know what a rolling sub is, do you want to just explain?
Yeah,
this?
basically we're going to be able to bring players on and off the court without interrupting play at all.
Yeah.
Multiple times, as often as you like. There's a couple of ways they could have done it. Our league's gone with just the subs. There's also what's called tactical changes. We haven't gone with that. So basically I can't go change a goal shooter and goal attack around.
Yeah.
But I can bring someone from the bench on and someone off and do it that way. So we did it at the practice match the other week, and it was really exciting to see because none of us are aware of it before. And you can make a quick 3-4 changes and get girls in different positions and have a complete new team on the court, freshen girls up. And some of these girls, especially when it's a bit warmer, only need that 2 or 3 minutes off. Get back on, give me another 6-7 minutes of hard, good netball, and it's a game changer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the key to that will be having a really versatile bench and being able to use that. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
The girls are excited. I'm excited to use it. The game will be... It won't change the game. It'll be sped up. People won't even notice girls coming on and off.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be overused. I think it's something that will be used smartly. And it certainly can be a game changer in the close ones. So, yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to it then.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Is there going to be a bit of, I don't know, troubleshooting with it early in the season as teams try to get used to it? Do you think there might be
And that's probably more on the behind the scenes stuff as, you know, team managers have got to fill in sheets and notify scorers before the changes actually happen. So that's probably going to be tough going. Going to be tough on umpires have got a lot to look at.
Yeah.
I look at how they're going to do votes. Girls are coming and going, that sort of thing. But no, I think it'll work out. I think it'll be good. I know the other leagues have done it and had a lot of success with it. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, beautiful. Now I wanted to talk about some of your expectations for this upcoming season. What are some of your hopes and what are your, I guess, your expectations?
Yeah, well, my expectation is to make finals and have a successful final series, and hopefully we can get A, B and C in there.
Yeah.
And I don't see a reason why we can't do that. I want to be considered competitive with the top 3 teams.
Yeah.
I don't want to be just making the finals and just be a mediocre team. I believe we can be a top 3 team this year. So that is definitely up there for us.
Yeah. And Bob, I think you touched on what your expectations were a little before, but
definitely long term we know what our expectations are and where we want to be at the end. I think probably short term, as I said, we've got a pretty big list and some really good players on that list. So, and I'm talking more than 21. So, short term, I'd like to get as many of those guys some game time as possible, so that when we do hit the pointy end, we've got a lot of options that we can utilise any way we see fit.
Yep.
And just tick those little boxes along the way and hopefully enjoy the journey rather than just looking forward to the end.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I also wanted to ask, what are you guys particularly looking forward to this season? Is there a particular team you're looking forward to coming up against? Any particular round that stands out to you? Is there...
Oh, look, there's always a couple of rivalries, I guess.
Yeah. So in the netball, who are some of Buln's?
Oh, well,
the teams they look forward to clashing.
They always have a good rivalry with Allenbank, I guess. You go up against your Darnhams and your Traffs and you know it's going to be a real tough hit out. So if we can match and ultimately beat those teams, that's a really good thing for us, and that's what we'll be aiming to do. Match those better teams, for sure.
How about you, Bob? Anything you're looking forward to outside of round 1, which we touched on? Match against...
As I said, I sort of keep a close eye on the other sides, and I think Allenbank's had some recruits. Longwarry seems to have recruited well. Lang Lang have filled some holes too. So those are the sides that we're sort of looking at to see what they've brought, what they're putting together. I sort of look forward to those ones and see what they're doing. I think we've got Allenbank at home first, which means we've probably got them again in July in the wet, so probably not one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. No, seriously, for anyone listening or watching, I just have to emphasise, please try and find some of these photos. They're just, they're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, really. Buln's had its fair share of those days too, but it just depends on where you're playing in July.
Yeah,
really.
I think the final score, what was it? It was 4-1 to 3-6.
There was, I think, 9 scoring shots to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not many goals.
Yeah.
I remember walking past the field on that day and you did not know who was who in the zoo. It was just madness. Never seen
Actual
it
trenches,
yeah.
Awesome. Was there anything that I've missed that you guys wanted to touch on from a club perspective?
We're coming prepared with anything.
Yeah, no, I think it's all good from my end.
That's all right. Awesome. Well, I think that just about covers everything. So, Cheryl, Bob, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thanks, yeah.
And best of luck for the season ahead.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.